Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, the podcast where we bring you the latest news and updates from around the world. I'm your host, Barbara, and I'm excited to share today's top stories with you. We're starting off with a pressing issue that's been making headlines globally. Amnesty International has released its annual report on the state of human rights, and the findings are quite alarming. The report highlights the ongoing attacks on international law, multilateralism, and civil society, which are being led by certain governments and transnational anti-rights movements. According to Amnesty International's Secretary General, Agnes Callamard, humanity is facing a pivotal moment, and it's essential for states, international bodies, and civil society to collectively resist these attacks. The report notes that world leaders have been too submissive in the face of these attacks, and their silence and inaction are morally bankrupt. The report specifically mentions countries like Israel, the United States, Russia, Myanmar, Afghanistan, and the United Arab Emirates, which have been accused of human rights violations. It also highlights concerns about Ireland's failure to enact legislation banning trade with illegal Israeli settlements in the occupied Palestinian territory. It's essential to approach this topic with a nuanced perspective, recognizing that each country has its own unique context and challenges. However, it's also crucial to acknowledge the importance of upholding human rights and international law. As we delve deeper into this story, we'll explore the complexities and implications of these findings. We'll examine the role of governments, international organizations, and civil society in promoting and protecting human rights. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. Today we're exploring the world of children's literature and the fascinating trend of picture books featuring unreliable storytellers. These stories are not only entertaining, but also provide a unique opportunity for young readers to develop critical thinking skills and learn about different perspectives. Let's dive into some examples. In Don't Think of Tigers, by Alex Latimer, the narrator promises to draw whatever the reader imagines, but with one caveat: they mustn't think of tigers. Of course, this only encourages kids to imagine all sorts of silly tiger scenarios, and the narrator is forced to draw them. This light-hearted tale teaches children about the power of their own imagination and creativity. Another great example is One Day at the Bottom of the Deep Blue Sea, by Daniel Bernstrom, where a clever little girl outsmarts a hungry shark by convincing him to eat other sea creatures instead of her. Kids will love seeing through the girl's clever tricks and feeling superior to the hapless shark. We also have Don't Think of Tigers' counterpart. Don't Think of Tigers is paired with Don't Think of Tigers' cousin. Don't Think of Tigers has a brother in One Day at the Bottom of the Deep Blue Sea, but what about other books like Don't Think of Tigers? Like The Girl and the Dinosaur? No, not that one. I mean, what about picture books such as Don't Think of Tigers' rival book? No. That is, Don't Think of Tigers paired with its sister, which are One Day at the Bottom of the Deep Blue Sea's friends like the other books by the same author. No, not those ones. I am talking about picture books that have unreliable narrators such as, for example, Don't Think of Tigers. And also we can mention its brother in Spirit, which is not written by Latimer, but shares a similar theme of having an unreliable narrator like The Bear and the Nightingale. No. The book I am referring to actually has nothing to do with those books I just mentioned. It is. No, that one neither. My example is going to be Don't Think of Tigers, rival in a way that both are about an unreliable narrator, which is the book titled. Actually, it doesn't have a title similar to Don't Think of Tigers, but shares some themes with another book by the same author as Not the Ones I Mentioned previously. But actually, what we should be talking about are books like The Stinky Cheese Man and Other Fairly Stupid Tales. That one has an unreliable narrator too. In all these stories, kids are encouraged to think for themselves, question the narrative, and develop a sense of empathy and understanding for different viewpoints. By presenting imperfect and often hilarious narrators, these picture books offer a unique opportunity for children to engage with complex themes and ideas in a fun and accessible way. As Anais Nin once said, "We do not see things as they are, we see them as we are." These books remind us that everyone has their own biases and perspectives, and it's essential to consider these when evaluating information. By reading stories with unreliable narrators, kids can develop a more nuanced understanding of the world and become more critical thinkers. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we close out today's show, I want to bring to your attention a pressing issue that's been unfolding in the Middle East. Reports have emerged of violence and bloodshed in the West Bank, with 2 Palestinians killed in the village of Al-Mughayir by Israeli settlers, according to witnesses. The incident has sparked widespread condemnation and raised concerns about the escalating tensions in the region. Details are still coming in, but it's reported that a 14-year-old boy and a 32-year-old man were among those killed, with several others wounded. The Israeli military has yet to comment on the incident, which is the latest in a series of violent clashes between Israeli settlers and Palestinians in the West Bank. Human rights groups have long warned about the surge in violence against Palestinians by Israeli settlers, with many calling for greater accountability and protection for civilians caught in the crossfire. The situation remains volatile, with both sides trading blame and accusations. As we strive to provide a balanced perspective on this complex issue, it's essential to acknowledge the deep-seated concerns and fears that exist among both Israelis and Palestinians. The expansion of Israeli settlements in the West Bank, deemed illegal by the United Nations, has been a major point of contention, with many arguing that it undermines efforts towards a two-state solution. In related news, the Gaza Strip has also seen its fair share of violence, with at least 2 Palestinians killed in Israeli strikes, according to health officials. The ceasefire deal brokered by the U.S. in October 2025 has been fragile at best, with both sides accusing each other of violating the agreement. As we wrap up this segment, it's crucial to recognize that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is a multifaceted issue with deep historical roots and competing narratives. It's essential to approach this topic with empathy, understanding, and a commitment to fairness and balance. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay engaged.